The streets are still just as quiet as they were when we left the bakery. No voices, no laughter, just the soft and steady pat, pat, pat of Amby's paws and my alternating shoe then sock steps on the stone. We don't get far before I spot a hanging wooden sign squeaking softly as it rocks back and forth in the breeze. Cobbler, it says, in big black letters. I slow down, staring at it like it's glowing, then down at my feet and back up. Shoes. Amby follows my gaze and gives a tiny, apologetic smile. I don't think anyone's there right now, Louisa. Don't worry, we'll come back after we find out what's going on. I nod and take a deep breath. I'm so tired of being half shoeless. My foot is wet, maybe from sweat, maybe from the forest. I can't even tell anymore. I've kind of gotten used to it, but every so often a sharp pebble under my sock or a stubbed toe reminds me that used to it doesn't mean okay. We keep going down the winding cobblestone paths, past restaurants with checkered curtains and cottages with ivy climbing up their walls. It's also cute, like a fairy tale picture book, but it just feels a little off without anyone out here. The village looked round from the outside, but inside it's more of a jumbled mess, like they kept adding new streets wherever they felt like it. I clutch my hoodie strings. My socked foot felt cool on the stones, and I follow Amby's quick hops. The path opens into a massive town square, and suddenly there are people, well, animals, everywhere. They're packed shoulder to shoulder, rabbits like Amby, badgers, large squirrels and chipmunks, and even taller animals too, like a moose with antlers, like tree branches, standing on his hind legs and towering over everybody. A frustrated beaver and his family keep pointing at the moose, blocking their view. They don't say anything to him, but they roll their eyes so hard it's hard not to laugh at them. The crowd buzzes with chatter, and a gruff, low voice shouts from the center, too far away to hear clearly. Amby's ears perk straight up, twitching as she listens. I squint and try to hear too, but I only catch random words that don't make sense. As we step into the square and join the back of the crowd, my stomach flips. I'm taller than most of the Florians, even though I'm only 11 and not exactly super tall back home. Rabbits and squirrels barely reach my waist. Their big eyes level with my belly, but some of the bigger animals, the moose, a buffalo lumbering nearby, make me feel tiny again. My heart starts racing, beating faster than my thoughts. All these animals walking and talking and arguing like people, it still throws me off. Back home, animals don't stand around complaining about someone blocking their view. Or maybe they do, but we just have no idea. I notice a bear just a few steps away and freeze. A bear. His paws swing by his sides, huge and dangerous looking, and my breath catches. Amby, there's a bear, I whisper, grabbing the edge of her apron, my voice shaky. Amby looks up, following my gaze. Her whiskers twitch into a soft smile. Oh, that's just Bruce, she says. He's a baker too. Makes the second best honey cakes in Floria. She winks and pats my hand, her paw warm and gentle. I've always liked bunnies, and Amby has been so kind that it's hard not to trust her. Ivory is obsessed with bunnies. I want her to meet Amby so bad, even if only to just see her freak out a little. I sneak another peek at Bruce and blink. He's wearing a checkered shirt and brown pants, something I could totally see Kaiki wearing back home. It's almost funny, this huge bear dressed up like some chill uncle. A tiny giggle escapes before I can stop it loosening the knot in my chest. This isn't the real world, I remind myself. These animals aren't wild. They're like people almost. They're Florians, like Amby. I take a deep breath, stick close to her, feeling a bit braver but still weird, like someone dropped me in the middle of the wrong video game. Animals start to notice me. Their eyes widened, younger ones, Kids like me with tiny paws and twitching tails whisper, "It's a human, and I've never seen one before." Their faces glow with excitement, not fear. I give a stiff little wave. They giggle and wave back, and it actually makes me smile. I thought humans here would be this huge, impossible thing, but they're just acting like I'm rare, not impossible. The older animals aren't as nice. Wonder if that's why this is happening. A skunk mutters to another skunk, his voice low but sharp. He flashes a scowl as he catches me staring at him. The human could be the cause. A badger grumbles nearby. My stomach twists. Are they talking about the void? The glue mines? It's because of me? I glance up at Ambi. She doesn't react to them. She's found an old wooden crate to stand on, and is just tall enough now to see over most of the crowd. Her eyes are locked on the center of the square, her face tense. "What's he saying?" I ask, tugging her apron. I stand on my tiptoes, trying to see too. I finally spot him, a rabbit standing on a raised wooden platform. He looks a little like Ambi, but older. Light brown fur around his face, streaked and blended with gray. Long ears that droop a bit but are mostly upright. Every time he turns his head, his glasses catch the light. "Is that the elder?" I ask. Ambi leans down a little, her face almost level with mine now that she's on the crate. "No, it's one of the leaders of our village," she whispers. Her whiskers tremble. "He says the void wall keeps moving. Doesn't look like it's slowing down. And soon it'll be approaching Floria." She swallows. "He says we need to evacuate." My eyes darted over the crowd. I watched the words hit everyone like dominoes. Some animals shout, "No!" Others shake their heads, muttering. You can see it all over their faces. They just don't want to believe him. I tug her apron again. "I can't really hear him. My ears aren't like yours." She nods, her face softens. "Come on, let's get closer." She hops off the crate and grabs my hand. We weave through the crowd. My sock keeps sliding on the cobblestones, and I keep almost tripping. Animals part just enough to let us through. Some stare at me, some ignore me, too busy arguing. As we pass, I hear a fox mutter to a hedgehog. "That old rabbit's crazy. Ain't no way Floria's getting touched." The hedgehog snorts and nods. We finally get closer to the platform, and I can see the rabbit better. His glasses flash in the sun as he raises his paws, trying to quiet everyone down. "The council members of Arovia Village have sent word from the elder," he calls out. His voice is wobbly but strong enough to carry. "They're making accommodations for us to seek refuge there." A murmur ripples through the crowd. They don't sound happy, but not scared either. I hear some quiet laughing behind us. A donkey and a possum and a few squirrels are grouped together, chatting and not paying attention to the brown rabbit. "Maybe the elder will come save us," the donkey says dramatically. One of the squirrels snorts. "Ah, nuts. I'd even take a simple hello from The opossum laughs. "Good one." They all start laughing like it's the funniest thing they've heard all day. I glance back at them, confused. Why are they laughing about the elder? I look back at Ambi. She already has her head turned toward me. She must have heard them laughing too. Why were they laughing about the elder? I ask. Aren't they trying to help everyone? Ambi looks over at the animals, then back at me with a hesitant, uneasy expression. "Some animals don't believe the elder is around anymore," she says quietly. "What do you mean?" I ask, confused. She shrugs. "Most animals haven't seen her in years. Some say she's gone. Others think she could be too old or weak and is just hiding away. Or dead," a squeaky voice chimes in front of us. I almost didn't even notice her there. A black hamster, half the size of Ambi, is peering back at us with a blank expression. Ambi gives a small shrug as if she agrees with the hamster. What about the people from Marshing? Someone yells, bringing my attention back to the square. I follow the voice and spot a group gathered together on the far side of the square. Big, scaly shapes. Crocodiles, alligators, and some smaller lizard types. Their tails swish slowly. Their clothes look handmade and bright, patched in some places, but still colorful. At first, I think they could totally eat us, and my heart jumped into my throat. But then I see a crocodile adjusting his glasses and an alligator holding a little kid's paw, and it softens the scary image a lot. Still, I stick close to Ambi. The rabbit on the platform lifts his paws again. Arovia has room for us all, he insists. Arrangements have been made to provide temporary homes and living spaces. It may not be ideal, but will create a large blended community that will thrive with everyone's cooperation. Until the leaders of Noctavir figure out the proper way to deal with the void and the glue mines. A few animals nod, but a lot still roll their eyes or shake their heads. The void's threatened before, a badger yells near us, directing my attention back at the rabbit in the square. It's never taken Floria. The great forest has always shielded us. The chatter grows as the animals seem to mostly agree with the badger's claim. A deep, rumbling voice cuts through the arguing crowd. I see a tall alligator stepping forward from the Martian group. His scales are dark green, flecked with gray. He wears a faded blue vest. His dark yellow eyes look sharp but sad. Many of us in Marshing thought the same, he says. His voice is steady but rough, like gravel. We were foolish, believing our swamps would protect us, but the Void Walls movement is real. It swallowed our homes, our kin. He falls quiet, his tail going still, and I see tears glinting in his eyes. If your leaders say Floria's in danger, you'd best listen. The square erupts. You Marshings always exaggerate, a squirrel yells, her tail puffing up. Remember the flood scare years back? A tall gray rabbit pipes up. Marshing swore the rivers would drown us all, and it was just a puddle. Some of the crowd laughs and snickers. Others nod along. I frown, my tummy twisting again. Why are the Florians being so rude to them? One of those crocodiles looks like he could eat half the crowd, and they're still acting like the Marshings are just dramatic neighbors. But the Marshings don't yell back. They just stand there, shoulders sagging. I spot a lizard wiping her eyes with shaking claws. An alligator hugs a small crocodile kid, tears streaking his snout. They know what the void can do. They already lost their home, their families. My chest feels tight. Ivory could be out there somewhere, in the same danger they're talking about. I scan the crowd for dark, long hair and a black hoodie, but it's all fur and scales and feathers. No Ivory. My shoulders slump. Tears sting my eyes. Maybe she's not here. Maybe she's worse than not here. Ambi feels my hand tighten in hers and gives it a gentle squeeze. It's okay, sweetie, she whispers. We'll find your sister, I promise, she adds, reading my mind. I nod and sniff, wiping my eyes with my sleeve. Ambi's warm paw makes me feel a tiny bit less like I'm going to fall apart, but my brain is still swirling with questions and fear. I look up at the rabbit on the town square platform. His ears twitch. His paws grip the railing tight, knuckles showing through his fur. He looks scared, too. Is he trying to convince himself as much as everybody else? They don't want to leave, Ambi whispers, her whiskers trembling as she scans the crowd. The rabbit raises his voice again, cutting through the noise. We leave at dusk, he announces. His tone is firm, but I can hear the shake in it. It's a full day's journey to Arovia, and it's safer to camp halfway in the meadows near Floria than in the valley before the mountain's base, where Arovia lies. We'll set up a checkpoint there for the night. He scans the crowd. Some nod, some glare, some cross their arms, or fold their wings like A family of large ducks I notice next to a marshing lizard family. A sharp voice slices through the murmurs. Dusk? What about the nocturnes? A badger shouts. Gasps ripple through the square. Heads turn. Suddenly, things feel really tense. I furrow my eyebrows and look at Ambi. Nocturnes? The word feels like a cold draft. What are nocturnes? I whisper, raising an eyebrow at Ambi. Ambi's ears droop and she squeezes my hand. Nocturnes are criminals, she murmurs, keeping her voice low so only I can hear. Bandits, mostly Arovians who turned rogue and abandoned their village. They prowl at night, stealing from travelers, like pirates. Her eyes flick sideways nervously. They're sneaky, but they don't dare attack big groups. She gives me a small, shaky smile, trying to be brave for both of us. I nod slowly, my chest still tight, picturing shadowy figures with cloaks and sharp eyes, waiting in the dark. On the platform, the rabbit stiffens and raises a paw for silence. I hear your concern, he says louder this time. The nocturne risk is real, but we'll travel together, Florians and Marshings. A caravan too large for their raids. Leaving at dusk allows us to reach the meadow checkpoint by nightfall and gives us a full day of light as we cross the valley. It is indeed our best chance. His gaze is steady, but his stubby ball of a tail twitches behind him like he's way more nervous than he sounds. Some animals nod, their trust fragile but still hanging on. He pauses, his shoulders sagging just a little. I beg you all to evacuate, he says quietly, but I know not everyone will choose to go. He hops down from the platform, his patched vest catching the fading light, and disappears into the moving crowd. The square breaks into clumps of arguing and worrying. Nocturnes hangs in the air like a cold blanket. What are we going to do? I ask, my voice small, looking up at Ambi. Ambi sighs. Her long ears droop like wilted flowers. I think we might not have a choice, sweetie, she says softly. Let's get you some shoes. Maybe rest up for a few hours. Her voice trails off, shaking. She twists her apron between her paws, staring at the cobblestones. Then she looks back up at me, and there are tears in her big eyes. Then we'll evacuate to Arovia, she says, her voice cracking as she nods. It hits me that this isn't just scary for me. This is her home, her bakery, her friends, everything. My throat tightens like I swallowed a rock. I nod, my chest aching for her. Around us, the crowd slowly thins as animals drift away in little groups, their voices low and worried. Some glance at me. Curious rabbits, suspicious badgers, others too distracted to care. "Oh, human," a familiar voice calls. I turn and see the old brown rabbit from the platform hopping toward us. Up close, his fur is more gray than I thought, like shadows mixed into the brown. He wears a patched green vest, the edges frayed but neat. A soft smile crinkles his face, and his whiskers twitch kindly. "I saw you in the crowd," he says, his voice raspy but warm. "Not hard to miss when you're taller than half the townsfolk." He chuckles. My cheeks heat up and I give an awkward smile, shifting on my one-shoed foot. He doesn't look scared of me, or annoyed, just curious. It feels nice. "I'm Bunford," he says, puffing his chest just a little. "Member of the Noctavir Council, Floria Village representative." He gestures around at the square and the streets like all of this is part of his job. The council, us folks from Floria, Marshing, and other regions, put this evacuation plan together. Sadly, Marshing's representative was taken by the void. His voice dips, heavy with sadness. I think of the alligator who spoke earlier, the one with tears in his eyes. That was his son, Bunford adds softly. The one who spoke up, brave lad. But even their pain, Their loss of homes and kin barely moved most of these stubborn Florians. He shakes his head, ears flopping a little. Amby, still holding my hand, clears her throat. Mr. Bunford, she asks quietly, is the elder here in the village? Her whiskers tremble. I can tell she already knows the answer. Bunford's smile fades. He shakes his head. No, I'm sorry, Miss Amby. The elder remains in Arovia, working with the rest of the council to prepare space for everyone. Caves, treetop shelters, flatlands for camps. She's organizing it all. His voice tries to sound hopeful, but his paws fidget with the hem of his vest. We start walking back toward Amby's bakery, the village now bustling as animals prepare their shops and homes to be permanently closed. Bunford's voice drops lower, like he's talking more to himself now. The void walls never come this close to Floria before, he says. The great forest has always seemed too vast, too strong for the void to engulf. We thought it was our shield, our protector. He glances at me, then at Amby. His whiskers droop. But now, it's different. I swallow hard. What's the void like? I ask quietly. Has it ever moved back? He sighs, shoulders sinking. Yes, child. It has retreated before. It's come as close as a few miles from the forest's edge here in the southwest. Scouts say both the eastern and western regions of Noctavir have seen the same. The void creeps in, then pulls back, like an ocean's tide. For years, villages were lucky. His voice hardens, and he grips his vest. But this time, it's worse. Scouts report it's closing in faster, several times within a handful of hours, though shorter distances each time, and it's spawning glue mines. At least 5 times more than usual, by their count, swarming near its edge. A shiver runs through me. I think of the cloudy portal that spat me into the treetops. Is there a way to make it go back? I ask, to make the void go back again. Bunford shakes his head slowly. We truly can only speculate from information we've gathered over years of watching it. Nothing we've tried, traps, barriers, even fighting the glue mines, has worked. Not effectively. Something in his tone feels guarded, like he's not saying everything. His eyes flick away. Before I can ask more, he softens his voice. But tell me, young one, what's your name? How'd you end up in our world? We reach Amby's bakery as he asked his questions. The green door and flower boxes look extra cozy now that the village is buzzing with nervous packing. Amby pauses with her paw on the handle. I'll start packing, she says, voice thick. She gives me a shaky smile and slips inside, leaving me and Bunford standing on the stones. I swallow and look up at him. My name's Louisa, I say quietly. I was in a hospital with my sister Ivory, and something happened. A cloudy portal, like a storm, sucked me in and spit me out here, in the trees. My throat tightens as I remember branches scratching me, my shoe ripping off in the creek, Amby's paws pulling me free. Ivory's got to be here too, I say. She's got dark brown straight hair, though. Not like my blonde curly hair, and she's a few inches taller. Wearing a black hoodie. I look down as I tug at my hoodie strings, nervously anticipating an answer from Bunford. I notice how my hoodie's gray is dirtied, with a variety of green and brown from traveling and sleeping in the forest. Bunford's ears perk up. His eyes widened for just a second. Ivory, you say? He repeats, voice careful. He trails off, staring at the cobblestones. My heart starts pounding again. Yeah, I push. Have you seen her? He shakes his head quickly. No, we haven't seen another human around, he says, his words stumbling a little. He looks genuinely sorry, whiskers drooping. But there's something else, too. Something I can't name. Like he's solving a puzzle in his head. I bite my lip, hope slipping away again. Bunford's gaze drops to my feet, and he startles like he's only just noticed my sock. It's so dirty, it's almost the same color as my black shoe. "Goodness, Louisa, that won't do," he exclaims. "The cobblers here would have no trouble finding or making you a new shoe. Maybe a fresh pair if you prefer. They're quick, even with all this chaos." He gestures to the street where rabbits and squirrels rush by with bundles and carts. Badgers struggle with crates. Everything feels loud and fast and shaky. "I must finish packing myself," Bunford says, adjusting his vest. "Time's slipping away before dusk. You and Ambi. Make sure to meet me and the others at the northern gate, at the opposite end of town. We'll head to Arovia together." I nod, my stomach fluttering at the thought of actually leaving this place already. "Okay," I say with a nod. "Take care, Louisa," he says, giving my shoulder a light pat. His eyes shimmer like he's trying not to cry. Then he nods toward the bakery and hops off, his gray speckled fur disappearing into the busy street. I stand there for a moment, watching everyone move. Animals darting in and out of houses, a badger grunting as he pushes a crate onto a wagon. Voices overlapping in lots of worried layers. But not everyone's in a rush. The fox and hedgehog from earlier stroll down the street, laughing like nothing's wrong. When they see me, they veer over, smirks already on their faces. "Ah, the human," the fox drawls, his voice sharp and dry. "We saw you back at the square." He waves a paw at the chaos around us, packed carts, rushing Florians, and his smirk twists. "Some say this is all your fault, you know?" The hedgehog snickers. "Thanks for thinning out the town, human. Less crowded. More room for us to do what we want." They laugh, cold and mean. My hands clutch my hoodie strings, and I can't think of anything to say. The fox mutters something to her about a shop they want to check before everyone disappears, then glances back at me. "Well, human," he says, "good luck on your way to Arovia. I don't envy that journey." I take a breath and glance around. The street is still busy. Creatures walking in groups, carrying baskets, closing shop shutters. As I turn toward the bakery, a soft rustle makes me glance up. On a shadowed balcony across the street, a large crow perches beside a badger, the two of them speaking in low murmurs. The crow's head swivels, sharp and bird-like, and its eyes land on me. It pauses. Then, almost like it's smiling, it gives a small tilt of its head. Before I can react, the crow says something quietly to the badger and spreads its wings. With one smooth, silent motion, it lifts into the air and disappears above the rooftops. The badger watches it go, then slips back inside the house without a word. A little shiver crawls down my arms. I've gotten to know some very kind animals like Ambi and Bunford, but it looks like they aren't all like them. I swallow hard, my cheeks burning. I slip inside the bakery, and the bell over the door jingling softly above me. Inside, Ambi has already turned her whole life into a pile. Sacks of clothes, crates of baking tools, jars of honey and sugar all sit in the middle of the room in a messy stack. The place looks like someone picked it up and shook it and everything landed in one spot. I hear quick footsteps, almost like half hops, from above. There's a narrow staircase behind the counter tucked between shelves dusted with flour. Curious, I climb up, the stairs creaking under my weight. Ambi's living space is small but cozy, like if a hug were a room. A low bed with a patched quilt hugs one wall. A tiny table holds a cracked teapot. A single window lets in slanted light, dust floating in the sun's beam like sparkles. The ceiling is low enough that I have to duck a little. To Ambi, this is normal. To me, it sort of feels like a big kid's playhouse. Ambi is kneeling beside her bed, paws jammed between the mattress and the wall. "Ah, there it is," she sighs, pulling out an old recipe book. Its leather cover is worn and stained with berry juice. She hugs the book to her chest, eyes going shiny. When she turns and sees me standing there, she jumps a little. "Oh, Louisa, you startled me." She laughs softly, though her voice wobbles. "This book's got all my recipes: bobo berry pie, bristle bread, everything. Couldn't leave it behind. In Arovia, I'll hopefully be able to put it to good use." She tucks it under her arm. "Thanks for letting me stay here," I say quietly, shifting on my grimy sock. Um, so what's Arovia like? The journey there sounds long." Amby's ears perk, then droop just a little. "It is a long trek, sweetie," she says. "We'll cross the plains beyond Floria's meadows, then a valley, and finally reach the base of a mountain where Arovia sits. The Arovians are avian folk, birds mostly. They live in caves carved into the cliffs or homes woven in and out of giant trees. Below, there's flat land that stretches out pretty wide, and it'll be perfect for us and the Marshings." She hugs the recipe book tighter. "The elders there, preparing it all, so it's got to be safe, right?" she asks herself, fighting off any remaining uncertainty. I think of the void's faint hum. But will it really be safe? I ask. What if the void gets there too? Amby's smile trembles and fades. Worry wrinkles her soft brow, but she nods anyway. "The elder will have a plan, Louisa. She always does. It's all we've got to hold on to. That Arovia will be safe, at least for now." Her voice shakes like a thin thread. She turns away and starts folding a blanket, smoothing it over and over like she can rub the fear out of it. "Come on," she says gently. "You can wash up and rest before we go. Just a couple hours till dusk." She leads me to a tiny bathroom. It's more like a closet with a sink and a chipped mirror. For Amby, it's normal. For me, it's a bit cramped. "Take your time," she says, her paw warm on my shoulder. "We'll need our strength for the journey." She pauses, glancing at my grimy sock. "I'm nearly done packing, sweetie," she adds, voice a little steadier. "I'll take your other shoe to the cobbler's while you wash up and rest. They'll fix you up quick. I promise." I clutch my hoodie strings. "Thanks, Amby," I say, my voice thick. She nods, scoops up my shoe carefully, and hops back down the stairs. I hear the front doorbell jingle as she heads out. Alone, I turn to the mirror. My reflection looks back, blonde, curled ends tangled, dirt smudged across my cheeks, eyes red and tired. I never thought I'd miss that hospital room, but right now I'd give anything to be back there with Mom and Ivory, even if it meant staring at white walls and listening to beeping machines. I blink hard as tears blur my reflection. I've tried to be tough: the portal, the trees, the creek, all these scary animals that turned out to be kind. But it all crashes over me at once. My mind has avoided processing it all until right now. I think of Ivory, somewhere out here or not. I grip the sink until my knuckles ache. I see a faucet down below the shower head. I twist it and let the water run until it's warm, then step into the tiny makeshift shower squished next to the tiny sink. Steam curls around me, wrapping me in heat. I find a bottle labeled Dr. Harry's Miracle Fur Shampoo, sniff it, and decide it's good enough for human hair. It smells minty and clean. The hot water feels like a blanket, washing away the dirt and some of the fear. For a few minutes, I just stand there, letting it pour over my face, imagining it rinsing away everything that hurts. When I step out, I spot a dark green towel Amby must have left out for me, wrap myself in it and stare at my clothes piled on the stool. Dusty jeans, stained hoodie, filthy socks. I sigh. No magical wardrobe here, just the same old stuff. I pull them back on. The fabric is stiff and scratchy, smelling like forest and sweat. It feels like putting all my worries back on too. I peek under the sink and find a wooden comb shaped like a leaf, a jar of paw cream with a bunny sticker, and a tiny whisker brush. Normal things, but in a rabbit house, they seem wrong and right at the same time. Familiar and strange. I shake my head and pad barefoot across the creaky but smooth wooden floor to Amby's little bedroom. The late afternoon light makes everything look soft. Her bed sits against the wall, the patchwork quilt, a mix of dark greens and bright yellow squares, like a summer meadow. I climb onto it, my feet dangling over the end, and curl up, pulling the quilt around me. The minty smell from the shampoo and the faint smell of wilting roses drift through the room. Under it all, there's the warm, sugary scent of bread and jam and berries rising from the bakery below. It wraps around me, gentle and cozy. My eyes roam over to a shelf with a single half-melted candle, wax frozen in drips like tears. I stare up at the window above the bed. The sun is lowering, its light slanted as it pours into the room. It'll be dusk soon. Then meadows and plains, then valley, then mountains, then Arovia. I hug the quilt tighter. Ivory's face fills my mind. Her dark hair, her hoodie, her teasing grin. Is she looking for me? Is she scared? Does she know I'm with a talking baker rabbit in a town of stubborn animals about to run from a giant purple wall that's trying to take us all? Questions pile up until my head feels too full. But my body is done, heavy and exhausted. My eyelids sag, and the muffled sounds of the village outside blur into one soft noise. Amby's home is warm, and for a little while, wrapped in her quilt, with the smell of bread and berries in the air, I feel safe. My thoughts drift, Mom's voice whispering, "Lulu," in the back of my mind, and I finally slip into sleep, the world fading into a quiet, gentle dark.